Hello, 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 everybody. How are you? This is Shirley, and this is Shirley's Thread Work. And tonight is Tuesday, so it must be Wind Down Tuesday. Come on in and join me. Get a glass of whatever it is that you drink. I am having Stella Rosa Mango, and you guys can grab a wine, grab a beer, grab whatever it is that you like, glass of water, glass of milk. Who cares? Just grab something and join in the fun. I want to say hello to everybody that's watching from YouTube land and Facebook. Thank you for watching. And also, I want to say hello to everybody that will be watching the replay. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And I see I have people that are in here waiting. Good, 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 good. So, am I like a few minutes late? I was sitting here doing whatever I was doing. The last time I looked at my watch, I had 5 minutes. And then the next thing I know, I looked up and I was like, wait a minute, it's people on here. So, anyway, I'm so glad everybody is here waiting and everything. And more people will be coming in. So, I want to say hi to Jenny. She said, hi, Miss Shirley and everyone. Happy Wind Down Tuesday. And to Robin, happy Wind Down Tuesday. Carol Calkins, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. And Becky, you are here. And I don't have my glasses on, so I think this is Marina. Yeah. And yeah, so those are the people that I have that are showing up, and I know I have more people because my numbers are showing up. How many people are actually watching, and of course, I never know who's watching in the background until after everything is over with, and then I see my numbers. So, just want to say thank you. And Becky, you say you're having a bad storm here, so your internet might go out. I hope not. I know this weather is crazy. Sometimes you have good weather, sometimes you have bad weather, and this is April, so April showers brings May flowers. So we're known to have a lot of rain in April. So hopefully the storms won't be too bad, too much thundering and lightning and um tornadoes and what have you. Hopefully we won't have any of that. The weather has been relatively stable here. It rained yesterday, I believe, or yesterday, Monday. Yesterday, no, today is Tuesday, so it must have been Sunday when it rained. But anyway, today has been a pretty beautiful day. And Marie, I think I saw a name that yes, I'm going to put these little things on my face. And where are they? My little glasses. Here they are. My readers, because can't read. There we go. So who do we have in here? I did say Marina, and I thought I saw somebody named Marie, which is new to me, if I saw that correctly. Maybe I didn't. Let me see. And Carol, you said you've been watching storm chasers all afternoon, crazy stuff going on, been praying. Yes. Yes, you have to do that because I tell you, this weather is something else. You never know what is going to happen from 1 minute to the next. Yes, I did see a Marie Johnston. Hello, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Your name is new to me, so if you are new to the group, thank you for coming in, and I hope you will come back again. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. It's Shirley's Thread Work. And if you already subscribed, then thank you so much. That I do appreciate. Well, I've been busy, and as usual, I see things online, I see things on Facebook, I see things on YouTube and what have you, and it kind of prompts me to come up with different ideas. And then I do talk to my AI counselor to see what he has to say. To give me some ideas and thoughts. So today I thought about, because of some of the things that I did see on Facebook, I was saying we will talk about what would you do if your machine could talk. And what would it say about your tools, your habits, and your mistakes? I know my machine would be kind of angry with me at times because I know I don't always do everything I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. And I would venture to say that that is a pretty common thing that happens. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And as usual, this is a conversation. This is audience participation. Everybody join in, chime in, comments, questions, statements, whatever you want to do. Just add to the fun of everything and the learning experience because it seems like every time we do have a Tuesday night presentation, somebody leaves here, including myself, learning something that we didn't know before we came in. So, with that, it is a good thing to be able to do that. So, first thing I'm going to start off, and let me see. Yeah, it's we've been here on here for a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and start off. I know people will continue to come in, but first of all, I got a little surprise. I just remembered it. Hopefully, it will play. So, this is for comments. And let me know if you can hear it and what your thoughts are. So make sure you got your sound on. If you don't have your sound on, turn your sound on right quick because I'm going to play a little something for you and I want to get your thoughts about it. So here we go.
Stitching dreams in every line, thread and needle, perfect time. If you wanna learn, come on and see Shirley's thread work on your screen. Weekly lessons, clear and bright, guiding you to stitch it right. From your first hoop to proud display, she's with you every step of the way. One down, Tuesday, come on, good vibes, good talk, and creative time. Grab your threads and stay a while, learning, laughing, Shirley style. One down, Tuesday, come on, good vibes, good talk, and creative time. Grab your threads and stay a while, learning, laughing, Shirley style. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, everybody. What did you think? What did you think? Marina said very catchy. Did you guys like it? Did you understand it? Could you hear it well? Robin says she loves it. I'm trying something. It's not complete. I haven't made a decision. There's a couple of others that I'm listening to. And so just wanted to know. I thought I'd just put it up there and see what you guys that are on here think. And even those that are not in the chat, if you did hear it, put join in and let me know what you thought about it. Uh, did you hear the lyrics? Did it make sense? Is it Marina says it's catchy and all of that. So hi Marissa, how are you? And Jenny said awesome, love it. Kara said, oh, that is so fun. Yeah, let me tell you. And Marina says serious sewing music, kind of like a perfect road trip driving song. It's got AI is amazing. AI is amazing. That's all I can say. I cannot take credit for any of it other than making the suggestion to my AI friend. And I said, create me a jingle. And I gave him the mood, I gave him the rhythm, I gave him how I wanted it to sound. And he told me, and I'm calling it he because we don't talk, but I'm just assuming it's a he. I can talk to it, but I just haven't decided to turn the voice thing on. But anyway, I did reach out to my AI, and my AI came up with the lyrics, and told me how to get the music and all of that. And so, like I said, there's a couple of other variations of the song. And when I make a decision, I will go ahead and select that as my branding song. And I probably will be playing it on Tuesday nights as well as during my channels. So Becky said, yes, AI is, you need to listen to Eddie Dalton. Um, and Eddie Dalton, I guess it works with AI. Let me see who it, Val. Hi, Val. Thank you for stopping by. And let me see if anybody else said anything. So I just thought that that was a little cute song, and like I said, I wanted to play it for you guys and get your thought about it because I thought it was cute. I thought it had a good rhythm to it, good listening. It won't be much longer than what it was that you heard, but I thought it would be a good intro. And Jenny said, "Oh wow, that was AI." AI wrote the lyrics. And there's another site that they sent me to that actually took the lyrics and turned it into a beat, turned it into a rhythm. And I have yet to confirm and, move forward and all of that stuff. So I can't, put it up and do all those things yet until I do. But I just wanted to just test it out on a few of you to see what you think. Hi, Pearl. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. And I will play it again later on for some of you guys that are just coming in and you missed the little intro song that I'm working on, so I can get more feedback. Anyway, so let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is my machine is telling me that I'm tired. I am worn out, y'all. I'm worn out. You using me with this dull needle. What you expect for me to do? You expect for me to do a good job and you won't change my needle on time? My needle is dull. It's hard for me to penetrate the fabric. So you got to change me. Change me, please. That's what the my machine is telling me. And the reason I brought that up first, I remember doing a project not very long ago, and I was close to the end. And all of a sudden, my thread started shredding. It was breaking. I was getting skip stitches, and I was like, oh no, not now. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I just a few more. And I didn't change the thread. So I kept going. It shredded again. I think it shredded 3 times before I finally stopped and said, enough is enough is enough. You're telling me what to do, and I'm the one that's being hard headed because I had to keep going back and all of that kind of stuff to catch it and fix it and stuff. And it was simply what I needed to do was, first of all, change the needle because I keep the dates when I changed my needle. So I know it had been a minute, but not that long. But the thing was, I had used it quite a bit because I had done some other projects. So even though I hadn't had the needle in there that long, it still had been used a lot, especially that particular number. And I know with me, I'm very guilty. My needles don't get equal play because I'm short. And if you can see behind me where my machine is, and can you see the threads? Nah, you can't see the thread. But anyway, I'm short and it's hard for me to reach in the back and sort of in the middle and everything. So I tend to change threads on the ends because I can reach them, time off and all of that stuff quicker and don't get the backs in the middle that often. So my 4, 5, 6, and 7 needles probably are good. My 9 and 10 and 8 and my 1 and 2 and 3, they're the ones that get worn out because those are the ones that I grab first to switch if I got to switch a color. So with me in that particular situation, I just needed to stop what I was doing, change my needle, and who can think what else I needed to do before I say it? It's something else that I needed to do before I went back to stitching. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows what you do when your machine starts crying to you about your needle, and it will. It will definitely let you know when it's time to change your needle. And one thing that, if I don't emphasize anything more tonight, is to get people to think about changing needles. Don't wait until they break, and don't wait until they start skipping. The first sign, if you get a skip, a loop, or a thread, they're telling you, I'm worn out, change this needle and get it done. So Sharon, hi Sharon, how you doing? You said oil the machine. Now with the 1050, that's a good answer. And I have to tell you, for me, because my machine tells me, plus it's habit. When I turn it on and it goes through its setting, everything, it moves and all that, and you're ready to start, the first thing that pops up on my screen says oil the bobbin. So I do that before I stitch anything. When I turn my machine on, the very first thing I do is go straight to my bobbin case, pull it out, get my brush, brush all the lint and loose thread and everything. And sometimes I'll even get my little handheld vacuum cleaner that I have. I use this is what I use. I like it. It works really well. I got it off Amazon. That's the name of it. I forgot what it cost. It wasn't that expensive, and it's pretty sturdy. I had another one that wasn't as sturdy as this one, but this one is pretty sturdy. And I will vacuum. I never ever ever use canned air. It is highly recommended that you don't use canned air, but I clean out the bobbin and I oil it. So yes, Sharon, oiling it is definitely the first thing that I do before I even do anything as far as starting a project. So after I change my needle, and Robin, you're saying rethread, and and you also say clean the machine, which I do. See if anybody else said anything. Let me see. So basically what Robin said, clean the machine. I clean the if my machine is skipping and shredding and all of that, and I change the needle, the next thing I will do is take the needle plate off and get in there real good, because even though I may be using my little hand vacuum and my brush and stuff, you really can't get up in there where the thread cutter is without taking the top off the needle plate and get in there and clean it and pick it out. That way you don't have to worry about getting um, burnt nest, which is the next thing that is going to come up. If your needle starts uh, shredding your thread and giving you skip stitches and loops and things like that, if you keep going, not only are you going to have a bad stitch out, you're going to eventually end up with a bird nest. So those are the things that I do. I always start off oiling my bobbin case the first thing as soon as I turn it on. I don't do anything else until I take care of that. That's a habit. I do it every time I turn the machine on, unless, now, there have been times that I turned it on, oiled it up and everything, and didn't stitch that day because something came up and I didn't get around to it. Then I may go the next day and not oil it. I've done that before. Also, keep in mind, even though you may have oiled the bobbin area first thing, don't be afraid to oil it again later on in your project if for some reason it sounds like it is dry. And I brought that up because if you guys remember, a month or so ago, I had my machine, I had a maintenance person come in and check my machine out, and he told me right away he could listen to it until it was dry. Well, I could listen to it and tell that it was dry as well. So I was oiling the bobbin area a little bit more often than normal, because normally I only do it once a day. And regardless of how much I'm using it, rarely do I oil it more than once, unless I know it has not had maintenance in a while, and that puppy probably is thirsty. So, with that being said, I oil it more often. And somebody said rethread. I thought I saw that. Who said, yes, Robin, you said rethread. Now, I look at my thread path, and hopefully, if it needs to be rethreaded, I will find that area and see what's going on. I don't automatically rethread it unless I can, until I check it, to put it that way. If I check the route and it comes all the way down and everything is where it's supposed to be, then I don't rethread it unless when I start back to sewing or embroidering, I still have issues. Then that's when I'll go ahead and just rethread it, because you know there has to be something else that's going on. So that's what I do. So with that, um, it says one common habit is using the same thread for too long. The other thing you have to keep in mind is you may be using the wrong needle. If your needle, if your, say for instance, you were doing some lettering. And we all know, hopefully, that if you want to get a good lettering, you need to use a 65-9 needle. So, and usually you should use a 60 weight top thread. You're going to get that nice, crisp lettering. So, you've put your 65-9 needle in, you did your lettering, but you did not change that needle out. And so the next day or the next project, you change your thread and you put a regular 40 weight thread in that 65-9 needle. You may have some issues. Excuse me. That needle eye is a little too small for that 40 weight thread. So it could cause you some issues. So keep in mind, keep a log of what size needles that you put in, as well as the log of as to what time or date that you put it in. And if you're like me and you do a lot of different projects, and some of your projects have some density here and lettering here and something else there, you may be forced to use two or three different size needles with one project. So if you have a multi-needle machine, you can have a 80 80-12 in one needle bar. You can have a 65-9 and another needle bar, and then the rest of your needles could be 75-11. I've done that many times. Or you can have thread, a metallic thread needle in, which is usually a 90-14, or jean, which is usually 90-14. So just try to keep up with the types of needle that you have in there, the size of that needle, and the thread, and then you pay attention to the fabric that you're stitching on. And that way you will have a happy machine when it comes down to needles, because it wouldn't have to fuss at you to tell you that you are not doing it correctly and you are causing some stress and strain on your machine, because your machine wants to run smooth and quiet and consistent. And you may not believe it, but the right needle has a lot to do with it. Now, the next thing that can cause a little issue that upsets the machine, and the machine gets a little pouty and starts fussing at you and says, you know, why are you using this same stabilizer every time we make something? You use the same stabilizer over and over, and you just working me to death trying to make me make this a beautiful project, and you don't even have it stabilized correctly. You're expecting too much from me. That's what your machine is saying, because you have to take in consideration that you have to use the proper stabilizer for whatever it is that you're stitching. We've talked about this before. I have seen people, and it makes me think about my process because I use no show mesh for practically everything that I stitch when it comes down to apparels. Even if I'm doing denim, I will still use no show mesh unless I am using a extremely dense design. Then I would do one or two things. One, I would probably double my no show mesh, or I may, well, three things. I may double my no show mesh. I may do a tearaway, or I may do no show mesh, a tearaway, and then put a topper on it, depending upon what it is. I don't like using the minimum weight cutaway stabilizer that looks like paper. I don't use that often. I have plenty of it because I pretty much stopped using it. And I'm not telling anybody else to do that. But the reason why I do that is I don't like that bullet plate look that you tend to get when you have that heavy stabilizer right in the front. And it there's a purpose for it. I understand. But I've been very lucky using my no-show mesh. And you guys chime in, tell me, has any of you guys tried it and are you happy with it? Do you feel comfortable with it? Because I know I have seen people use no-show mesh and regular cutaway stabilizer. I've seen people use no-show mesh and tearaway stabilizer, which I've done that before. I've done no-show mesh and my cutaway to give extra stability, but I not cutaway, tearaway. And that's because once I'm done, I can just tear that part out and not have that stiffness in there. And I've also, like I said, used no-show mesh with um, a top of water soluble stabilizer. So stabilizer mistakes are huge. Using tearaway for everything, of course, we know is a definite no no. Sometimes people don't use enough stabilizer. The other thing is, which I'll talk about in a minute, is poorly hooped, which is extremely important. And some people float everything. I am not a proponent of floating everything. I rarely float, to be perfectly honest about it. I rarely float. I use mostly, like I said, no show mess, or I will occasionally use the tearaway or the regular cutaway. I use my topper, and if something has to be floated, then I use my Durkee frame and I use my sticky stabilizer. I just don't feel comfortable using just doing floating. And I know a lot of people do. And the reason why I don't float that much is because most of the time I'm using a mighty hoop, and I have not found the need. Pretty much, I've not found the need to float because I can hoop all of my thick fabric, my denim, my canvas, my jackets that's denim or something else thick, or like a tote. I even have burlap totes, all of those kinds of things. I can use my mighty hoop, so I haven't really had the need since I've been using mighty hoop to do a lot of floating. So that part I don't do a lot of. And uh, I wanted to talk briefly about another stabilizer, which I've mentioned, and this is really, believe it or not, it's a miracle that Terrio Magic is a liquid starch. but basically they call it a liquid stabilizer. That's exactly what it is uh, called. It says liquid fabric stabilizer right here on the um, on the bottle. You can see it where it says liquid fabric stabilizer. And that is so true, believe it or not, because I have. Now, it does depend upon what it is you're using it for. I have only used it for um, napkins so far because I didn't want anything on the back. So I have only used my Terrio Magic for napkins. So, but it does work very, very well. So let me see what people have been saying. Some people have come in. Da, da, da. Hi, Joyce. How are you? And Marina said, make sure you use the correct size needle for the task. Yes, that is 100% true. Let me see who else has come in. Tisha, Taisha, hi, thank you for stopping by. And you said, hello, everyone. It's been a long time, but I'm free tonight because my grandson didn't have to work today. Unfortunately, he's working tomorrow, so I will not be able to join you. Well, that's okay. I understand. We're just glad that you stopped by, Taisha, and I hope all is well. Um, And Pearl said, are we talking about for every machine or multi-needle machine? I'm talking about every embroidery machine. When you are even using your flatbed single needle machine, you still need to make sure that the needle is appropriate for the project. Now, that can be complicated, especially having to change the needle and the thread and all of that kind of stuff all the time. That's one of the main reasons why I decided to get a multi-needle machine. I'm just be honest about it because I just thought it was a very tedious task to constantly be changing your thread. At that particular time, I wasn't knowledgeable enough to know that I really needed to be mindful of my needles as well. But yes, if you are doing using metallic thread for a project on your flatbed, you need a metallic needle. If you're using jean, you need a bigger needle, 9014, which is a jean needle. Or, if you're doing patches, everything that you do, your needle should correspond with that. And if you want a good outcome. So unfortunately, the answer to that question is yes. I am talking about both a multi needle as well as a single needle. The only difference is, fortunately, for those of us that use our multi needle and have one, is that we don't have to continuously do that switching back and forth, usually through the process of the project, because hopefully we have enough needles where we can not have to do all of that uh, back and forth stuff. But that happens sometimes, especially if you do like me sometime where I'll have a project that requires 20 colors of 30 thread changes or something ridiculous like that, which happens often. And that keeps me ripping and running with the changing of my thread as well. And it can definitely take into consideration maybe the thread, maybe the needle. But with that, I will put like a different needle in particular numbers, like number 1, 2, and 3. One would be a 12 by 80 by 12. Two would be a 65-9. And then number 3 would probably be a 90-14 if that's what I need for my project. Everything else would be 75-11. And then I would just work my way that way. So it saves me from having to continuously change my needles when I'm doing one project. I just know that knowing when I need to put the correct thread or whatever on that needle arm, that number, to stitch that particular part of the design out. Hi, Maggie. How are you? And let me see, are you asking a question? When you use the 65-9 needle and 60 weight thread in your 10 needle, do you manually thread the needle? If you can, If so, can you leave the tail hanging down since you can't use the automatic threader? Yes, I do manually thread my needle when I'm using a 65-9 because it is recommended that you don't try to use the auto. And I have to be honest about it, I have used the auto. It has worked. I'm not recommending that because I was told that it could be damaging to the machine. So I've done it only because I forgot. That's it. But I do um, always, generally always manually. But the way my machine, the 1055X is, there's a way that you can bring the thread up and loop it on um, it's like a little catcher at the top where you can pull the thread up and loop it up there and it'll stay out the way so I don't have to worry about it just dangling and hanging. So that doesn't cause me any problems when I have to manually thread any of my needles because there was one time when my threader went out on me and I had to get it repaired or replaced, and so the machine still works. It just your threader just doesn't work. So I was using my machine until I was able to get it taken care of. And I was manually threading all of my needles, and you just put it in there and wrap it up, put it in there and wrap it up, and keep on going. And it's not an issue. So yes, let me see. Hi, Kingsbury Craft. Thank you for stopping by. Let me see. Uh, Hi, Angela. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. And don't forget the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Angela. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. As you guys know, that's what keeps the program flowing. Got to have those likes, got to have those subscriptions, and got to have those notification bells and comments, comments, comments. Comments help as well. So, and Pearl, you say you love that no show mesh. I do too. I have to tell you, I don't use much of anything else other than no show mesh. If nobody has tried it, please do and see what you think about it. Marina, you say you use cutaway with the tearaway together quite often. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people do that. I've seen the cutaway and tearaway. And like I said, I've used my no show mesh, which is a cutaway, with my tearaway a lot. Um, and Carol, Carol says she's mostly a floater. Okay. And then Sharon says she doesn't like floating. And Robin says that she doesn't float too often. And hi, Quill for Joy. Thank you for stopping by. And Taisha said, I don't float. I have been embroidering for over 40 years and we did not learn to float. I, and Becky said, oh, I float mostly too. So it's interesting how we all have our different thoughts about it, and not knocking floating at all because I have floated. I just personally, since I've been using my Mighty Hoop 99.9% of the time, I've really not had the need to do any floating. So that's why I don't float, and do I don't use my single needle embroidery machine that much. Matter of fact, I haven't used it in a couple of years, to be honest about it. I have to tell the truth. Not as an embroidery machine. And that was the only time that I actually was floating. And back to what I was saying, whenever I get to a project or something that would normally require you to float, I use my Durkee frames and I use um, my sticky stabilizer. So I'm not actually floating it. Um, but that's me. But floating is floating and it works. So it's not a big deal if that works for you. Marina said, I really like using iron on no show and iron regular cutaway. I feel like it stabilizes the fabric better, especially the garments. Yeah, that iron-on no-show mesh is a lifesaver, especially if you don't have a hooping station or the hooping backs or something like that, where you need to get it in place. I know I don't have a backing for my sleeve mighty hoop. I think it's a 3x9. I think it is, and so I actually had to um, use the iron-on stabilizer, or I've used 505 spray and sprayed it on, and then hooped it, sprayed, and then put the stabilizer on with the adhesive, and then hooped it, and that worked out for me. And Robin, you say you've never usedTerial Magic. I love that stuff. I tell you, I have used it. Um, I started using it, to be honest about it. I started using it when I started applicating, because somebody recommended that to applicate before I start using the mm, 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 mm. What is this? The heat and bond. The heat excuse me, the heat and bond light. Now, before I start using heat and bond light on the back of my fabric for my appliques, I was using Material Magic. But the downfall of that is that you spray it kind of wet, and then you have to let it dry kind of a little bit, and then iron it, and it's really really stiff, and it makes it easy to cut and all of that kind of stuff. But you don't have to do that if you use the heat and bond light. So I kind of got away from using Material Magic for my appliques. But again, if you want to do handkerchiefs and napkins and things like that, I've never used it on towels or anything like that. But napkins, handkerchiefs, cuffs, uh, I haven't done this yet, but like if you're doing a decorative pillow or bed sheet, the top of a bed sheet, or the end of the pillow, whatever. Excuse me, and you definitely don't want any remnants of stabilizer. That's an excellent idea to use Terrio Magic. I've never, and I don't know if it would work, but it just popped in my head, and I might have to try it just on a piece of fabric. But I'm thinking the satin, because if you're doing a satin um, bridal robe, you don't really want any evidence of um, stabilizer. And I tried to do one, and I tried to use the heat away stabilizer, and that was an epic failure for me. I hated that stuff. I've only tried it, use it once, and I have yet to try it again because I was not happy with the results of the heat away stabilizer. And I've heard people that have used it and liked it, and I'm thinking maybe it was the brand that I had. I don't know, but I did not like it. But it is out there and available. And Quilt for Joy, believe it or not, sometimes I don't use stabilizer. If I'm doing edge to edge on a quilt, I don't use stabilizer, and it works fine on my Janome M17 magnetic hoop. And you are 100% correct. I've done heirloom quilts, and I've not used a drop of stabilizer. I've not used Terrio Magic, anything like that. I've also have done some thick denim, and I have not used the stabilizer. So you are absolutely correct. It can be done, and it works, and it's not so big of a deal. I started off with my heirloom quilts doing stabilizer, and I read somewhere or saw somewhere where people weren't using it, and I tried it, and I said, it works. So I don't do that anymore. So yeah, thanks for sharing and letting people know that yes, you've done it, I've done it, and it does work. Da, 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 da. And Robin said, I've never used it either. However, I did purchase some after watching Nancy over the past few days. And are we talking about tutorial magic? I don't know what we're talking about, but if that's the case, give it a try. And Taisha is saying you have to match your need to the project, even for sewing machines, so it goes for all machines. Yes, that is correct. Thank you. That is 100% correct. Hey, Leslie, how are you? Hello, everyone. I came in as the theme was playing, but had to get some dinner. I was out most of the day, so you got a chance to hear my little thing. And who is this? Pearl. Oh, wow. I drool at that machine at Quit for Joy. Yeah, the M17. You right. Me too. Me too. That is an awesome machine. Hi, Miss Joy. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Hello, beautiful queen and family in the chat. Guess what I got? I know what you got, girl, but go on and tell it. I'm not gonna steal your thunder, but I saw your live, so go ahead and put in the chat what you got, and we can talk about it. Okay? Go ahead. Um, and Quill for Joy says it's a lovely machine. It is. And Miss Joy also said, don't forget to give the thumbs up. So we ought to get plenty of thumbs up tonight. Hi, Maggie. Did I speak to you yet? And thank you for the tip. I have that same machine. Okay. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. Okay. So Robin says she saw the short. So congratulations. And Sharon's, I have no show. I would use no show mesh with tearaway. Okay. And hi, Pam. How are you? Thank you for stopping by, Pamela Scott. And Jenny, you say you like floating tiles. The reason I don't have to float tiles anymore, that was really the only thing I think I floated anyway. And I don't have to float tiles anymore because of my um, magnetic hoops. And Leslie, you say you have a bottle of Tiro Magic but have never used it. So now, Miss Joyce says she's never used Tira Magic, but she buys Best Press, which I do when I was ironing my quilting. I use Best Press as well. Here we go. I was waiting to see if you had put in what you got. So, Miss Joy, let's all give Miss Joy a hand, a congratulations and everything because she got her pulling EOC 06 single needle embroidery machine with a 7.9 by 11 hoop. So yes, congratulations, congratulations. We are so happy for you. Like I said, I did get a chance to see um, your short as well as your part of your live. I didn't get a chance to see it all, but I did see part of the live, and so I was aware of what it is that you got. So tell us, how do you like it so far? How do you like your pulling? Quite a few people are gravitating towards that machine, and I thought about a pulling OC07 myself, but it doesn't appear that the hoop is going to be much larger than what I can get on my um, 10 needle machine, so it doesn't help me to get it. So people are saying congratulations, and Jenny gave you a whole handful of applause, and everybody is saying congratulations on your new machine. And I know that you are very happy and ecstatic, and so am I. I always love to see people be able to get new machines and all of the stuff that they really want because it does make you feel better and it makes you produce more when you have what it is that you're looking for. Okay, so what else is our machine? Our machine is screaming, screaming. Don't blame me if this project doesn't come out well because you're using bad thread. You're using bad thread. I'm not a miracle worker. I can't perform miracles with bad thread. So that's what our machine is saying. So cheap thread equals breaks and lint. My machine, well, my SE 1900 is finicky as all outdoors. When I bought my SE 1900, I went on Amazon and they had this sim thread kit, beautiful thread. Still have it. Don't know why, but I still have it. Beautiful colors. My SE 1900 was not having it. It was not having that thread. It would break, 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 break. I could not get much of anything done. That is a finicky machine. I couldn't use regular bobbins. I had to use brother bobbins, pre-wound bobbins, and I had to use better thread. I started using, um, oh gosh, what is it? Mm-mm-mm-mm. I have a bunch of it. EMB, Metro EMB thread. And it's not an extremely expensive thread either, but I guess it's a better thread than this sim thread as far as my machine is concerned. But I have been able to use the sim thread a little bit on my 10 needle. My 10 needle machine really has not fussed about the threads that I've used because I use mostly Floriani. I have some Madeira. I have some Sulky. I have some Coats. I have what else do I have? I have the EMB Metro EMB, and that's pretty much what I have that I use. And I strictly buy Floriani now because I just love the sheen and I just love the colors. But I use the other threads that I have if the project calls for a color that I may have in another brand. And Miss Joy said you love your pulling. Um, from the box to embroidery, less than an hour. So basically, she was able to unbox it, get it up, and start stitching in less than an hour. So that was cool. That was cool. And she says she is still praying. She is still praying for a multi needle machine. Well, um, what is it? Buy also makes the pulling, and the buy machines are running pretty affordable. They're still expensive. It's still what 53, 58, $5,500 for a 15 needle machine. But if you look at it in general and whole, comparing it to like my machine and other machines, that's a pretty doggone good price. I mean, I've even thought about it myself. It's such a big machine, heavy machine. I don't really have the space. If I wanted to, I'd make space because something would just have to get out of here. I don't know what it is. Something would have to go if I decided to do that. But uh, just keep that in mind. I'm sure, Miss Joy, you're aware of that, But there are a lot of people out here using them, and they seem to like them. I can't say yay or nay because I don't have one, but I do know a lot of people are using them, and they tend to like them. So cheap thread equals breaks in length and incorrect threading path. That was brought up about the threading of the needle and everything and what to do. You have to make sure you thread your needle correctly and look at your tension on your machine. I don't fiddle with my tension on my machine, but I do look at my machine to make sure that everything is threaded correctly often, and especially if I start having breaks or skip stitches or loops or bird nest or any kind of issue, if it starts making crazy noise, all of that stuff, then I will look at the thread path to see if some reason it is not threaded correctly, something hopped out or whatever, because that can happen. Then you need to rethread. The other thing, which is the next thing, is clean me, please. The machine has said, clean me, clean me, clean me. You need to keep your machine clean, top and bottom. I'm extremely guilty about keeping the top part clean. I really need to cover it. My husband's been telling me ever since I've had the machine to get a covering for it, and I have resisted, and I still don't think I will. But we do need to dust. We need to get that dust, because if you can get lint and dust somewhere up in the tension area, it will cause your machine to clown. It does not take but a minute piece of lint in the wrong spot to throw your machine off. You will be surprised how one little bitty small piece of lint or dust or thread or whatever can make your machine act up. So keeping it clean, top and bottom, in the bobbin area, definitely. Even your needle bars, because with all the stitching you do, a lot of lint and everything gets there. You need to go in there and clean all of that stuff up. Get your brush, brush it up, brush it up, brush it up, and then keep your table and all the area around it nice and clean and neat, so you'll be proud of what you have. I've seen people online, and I be wondering. I see dirty machines. I see, oh my goodness, I've seen some dirty hoops. I've seen some dirty workspaces and work tables and cutting mats, and I just kind of think to myself, what are you making and what are you doing with what you make when your work area is not clean? Are you selling stuff? That's just my thought. Now, it's a difference between messy, because you can't do too much crafting without stuff everywhere. That's just part of crafting. Like I try to explain to my husband all the time, nobody has a real organized um, crafting room. And even if they do, it doesn't stay that way. Trust me, when they're working, it becomes disarray. Now they may clean it back up before the day's over with and get it back tip top shape, looking spank new and clean. But in the course of the process of doing their work, you're gonna have thread and needles and rhinestones and sequins and lint and fabric pieces and tape and everything else all over the place, because that's just part of it. We all know that. That's just part of it. But we do have to try to keep our spots clean. What are you saying, Taisha said most people complain about the price of embroidery machines, but I purchased my first single needle baby lock embroidery machine over 40 years ago and paid $6,000 for it. And the largest hoop was 8 by 10. And 40 years ago at $6,000, that was a mint. You hear me? That was a mint. There's no way. But yeah, I can imagine. The machine, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. And I mean, embroidery machines aren't cheap. Even now, they constantly go up. If you're looking at a high end single needle machine like the Radiance for Baby Lock, the Avenir from Brother, the Bernina, I don't know the names of those, but I know Bernina has them. All of them have these. Janome has one. The M17 is not cheap at all. I know that. I admired it, and I was like, it was giving the Luminaire a run for his money when I looked at it. And I mean, these machines are, as my husband said, that's a car. I said, well, what can I say? That's what they cost. And that's what we're willing to pay if that's what we want. Try to get the best price you can. Now, shop around. Always do that. Please shop around. Because if it says $25,000, that does not mean you got to shell out $25,000. Promise you, there are places that will sell that machine for far less than $25,000. You just have to shop around and find those places. So don't forget that whatever machine that you're looking for, don't just jump up and buy it at the first place that you are. Call around, shop around, see how you can come out a little better, and then go from there and see if they'll ship it to you. And save you a little bread that you can put towards other things. You can put it towards your hooping station and your thread and your stabilizers and all of that kind of stuff. And Quilt for Joy said, I get embroidery designs from Etsy, and most likely when buying from Etsy, I have to adjust the tension. Girl, 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 girl. Etsy and those designs. Sometimes you get so lucky and sometimes you do not. So it's a crapshoot when it comes down to getting designs off of Etsy. And I do get designs off of Etsy. There are times when I'm thrilled and there's times when I'm really ticked off. I bought some not too long ago and I was not happy. It was a waste of my money. I paid $8 and I couldn't use the design. It was just I wasn't happy, but that happens. And Taisha saying the machine did not come with a lot of bells and whistles that we get now. Yeah. And Quill for Joy says, I always cover my machine and I don't eat and drink near my machine. I can't afford any oopsie. You are correct. I don't drink around my machine. Now I don't eat like, eat. I may snack on a cookie or snack on a chip or something like that every once in a while. But most of the time when I'm up here, I'm not eating. But I do on Tuesday have my wine. But I'm nowhere near my machine. And I don't even have it close to my computer either, because you're right. I don't want no oopsie. And Pearl said, I'm the same way. All of my machines have covers. Yep, that's a good idea. It really is a good idea. Yeah. Carol says, I found a pattern for a cover to make in the for the Brother PR 1050 and 1055 users Facebook files. Work great. Okay, share that with me, Carol. If you don't mind, send that to me. I would love to see that because I really do need to make one and cover my machine. And Jenny, what are you saying? I was out of wine to join you, Miss Shirley, but my hubby snuck out to the store and surprised me with a glass of wine. So cheers. Yes, he snuck out. There you go. Mine was supposed to bring me a bottle of wine. He went to get some paper plates. He went to get some paper plates. And he said, you need anything else? And you got wine? I said, well, yeah, I got a little wine, but I can always use more. He said, okay. And then I told him what kind. And so he left. And then he came back and said, doggone it, I forgot the wine. I got the paper plate, but I totally forgot the wine. But luckily, I had some and I still got a bottle. So I won't run out. But yeah. Yeah, this is a good idea. Jenny is saying take advantage when there's quilt shows or expos. Some of the times they have great bundle deals. And also, they'll have a lot of after expo sales as well. So keep up with various online sewing and quilt places. I love Tops and Vacuum Sewing Center, I believe is the name of it. When I was in Florida, that's where I bought my machine from in Tampa. Tops Vacuum and Sewing Machine store. And they always give good prices and they advertise all the time. They will take trade-ins, they will give you the highest price, they will work with you, they do layaway, they um, they try to give you a good price if you shop with them. When I bought my machine, I got a good price for it. They brought it to me, no extra charge. The cart was put together. I was living in an apartment building on the third floor. We had an elevator, thank goodness. They called and told me, well, I knew they were coming. They called and told me we're here. And so I'm thinking they're coming up to my apartment door with a big box because I had my son come over so he can video me doing the unboxing. Because, yeah, I'm going to unbox this puppy right now. So I said, I need you to come over because I want you to film me doing the unboxing of my machine. When I heard the elevator door open, because I wasn't that far from the elevator and I pretty much assumed it was them. I opened the door and looked down the hall, and here they came with my machine set up on the cart. The cart was put together, the machine is on there, there's thread on there, and they just brought it into my apartment. No issue, no problem, nothing. And it was no extra charge. I was ecstatic. I had another machine before that. I ain't get none of that. Trust me, I got none of that. I literally, and I'm not going to lie, I literally threatened to send the doggone machine back and not accept the delivery because the delivery man was telling me he was going to drop it off in the parking lot. And I was like, not today. If you can't bring it up to my apartment, I didn't ask you to put it together, but you're going to bring that big box up to my apartment. How am I supposed to get this thing up to my apartment? Or I'm not accepting the delivery. And I promise you, that's what I said. And I meant it. And trust and believe me, that's exactly what happened. They brought it up to my door. So, why would you even think about doing that? Dropping this big old huge gigantic box with a big multi-needle. It was a multi-needle machine, and expect for somebody to be able to haul it up to the third floor with what and by whom? That was ridiculous. But anyway, I digress. um, Who is it? Taisha, Shirley, did you ask for your money back, demand a refund? Twice I purchased from Etsy and I got a refund because the design was no good. Yes, ma'am, I surely did. And yes, ma'am, I did get my refund back. I sure did. Now, you should know me well enough by now that I certainly did. As soon as I realized the thing wasn't working correctly, I immediately got on there and demanded a refund. And I didn't want anything else but a refund. That's all. Don't send me nothing else. Don't do nothing else. Just give me my money back because this is not working. It is not a good project. Um, yeah, to quit for joy. I lost a covering for my machine as well. It was it was easy to do. I was so mad about that. I stuck it in something I shouldn't have stuck it in, and it went away. Hi, Eva Marie. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. And D.S. Smith, how are you? Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Who else? Who else? Who else? Quit She said, not in the parking lot. Yes, ma'am. They were going to drop it off in the parking lot. Can you believe? I was like, you have got to be kidding. You have got to be kidding. But yeah. And Pearl, you say your sewing stores all over Florida. Yes, it is. They have a lot of sites in Florida. I've been to the one in Largo because I used to live in Clearwater and Pinella Park, if you know anything about Florida. So I went to the one in Largo. I bought my machine from Tampa because Largo didn't sell them. They showed them the single needles, but they didn't sell them. And Tampa did. And I went to the one in Sarasota because they are the ones that fixed my thread thing that quit working, and the needle threader. And then I've been to the one in Fort Myers, which is where my son lives now. So yeah, they're all over the place, and I love that store. I love that store. I Every time I need a machine or want a machine, I call them up. They're the first people I call and say, what's the price on your machine? And usually I can get a good deal. And they have me in their books, so they already know. Yeah, she buys from us. All the best marketing LLC. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Okay, so we talked about cleaning the machine. So the next thing is buying gadgets and stuff that we don't need. Now I have to be honest about. I am so guilty of that. I started off. Now, this doesn't always necessarily have to do with your machine per se to make your machine unhappy, because I don't buy any gadgets per se that is attached to my machine. And I have bought a few hoops that maybe I didn't need, but I've used them. I have mighty hoops, I have the regular hoops that came with the machine. I have my Durkee frames, and I also have Tech. Tech, is it Tech uh, frames. So four different kinds. Three of them are aftermarket, but I've used them all, and I love them. Um, so it talks about, why did you buy that? Another gadget, really? Yeah, another gadget. I wanted to talk about this specifically because you probably can see the junk that's behind me on my table. I pulled a bunch of stuff out, and I asked him to break down what you need, what you don't need, and all of that, because we tend to, I know I tend to, I'm talking about myself. I tend to buy stuff that I don't need. I started off doing that because when I first started embroidering, I listened to all the people that I watched. And if they told me I needed XYZ, I went and got it. I ordered it, I went and bought it, whatever. I just went and got it because they said that you need it. Or I use it, not necessarily saying, oh, go get it. They just tell me this is what they use. And I mean, I'm not blaming them for that because I tell you what I use as well. But the thing is, oftentimes, just because somebody else uses it doesn't mean you have to use it as well. What you need to do is make sure it's something that is going to be necessary for what you do, and not because it looks good, or someone else said it, and all of that stuff. And so I'm going to show you some things that I bought that I didn't need, but I bought them. And so, Eva Marie, you said you don't drink wine, but you got your Pepsi. There you go. And Quilt for Joy, I love to know how you price your items. Would you be willing to do a video on how to price items to sell? We have talked about that extensively on several lives, but yeah, I can talk about that again. But the thing is, I have to be honest about it. And I know this is off topic, but that's okay. No one can really tell you what to charge. You have to decide what you're going to charge based upon several things. As long as you take into consideration the cost of your time and skills, estimate what your overhead is as far as your electricity, your space, your supplies like your stabilizer, thread, design, all of that. You have to come up with a reasonable price for that. Then you have to take into consideration the garment or the blank, whatever that blank is. Did you buy it? Did they buy it? Preferably, I prefer to buy it, and then you upcharge a little bit and you charge that to them. And then the and I don't go by how many stitches. I don't do the dollar per thousand stitch, all of that nonsense. I don't think it makes sense at all. But I do go by the complexity of the design. And you do have to look at the length of time it's going to take, but that's not always an accurate time because everybody doesn't stitch as fast as the other person or is slow. I limit my speed. My machine would do 1,000 stitches per minute, but I never put it up to 1,000 stitches per minute and never will. I'm not comfortable with that. The fastest I normally go would be 800, but it depends upon how many stitches it's going to take me a longer or lesser time. So all of these things are the things that you have to take into consideration when you are pricing. And then on top of that, you got to look at what your market will bear. And that depends upon where you live. What people will pay in New York and California, they're not going to pay in Tennessee and Mississippi and Oklahoma and any other rural type place. Or if you're in a big metro city like Atlanta or Charlotte or Houston, Dallas, wherever, St. Louis, what will the market bear? What do you know for sure that people will, how high will they go? You don't want it too low, but you don't want it too high. So you have to figure that out. So it's a very complicated process in making a decision on what to charge, but you have to charge to make a profit. So when you look at all of those things, and I had a young lady ask me today. I went to this loctician. I'm thinking seriously. That's why I've been letting my hair grow. I'm thinking seriously about getting some kind of locks by a professional person this time. So I went to this loctician today for a consultation, and in the course of the conversation, it came up about what I do, and I gave her my card, and we chit chat talked about it, and the first thing came out of her mouth, as usual, I need some shirts done. What do you charge? And I had to tell her, it depends on what it is you want. And thank goodness, by her being a business person, she understood that quite well and did not give me the side eye or anything like that. So the decision is, we're going to have a discussion the next time I go back and find out what it is she wants and all of that process. And then I'll be able to hopefully give her a better idea of what I will charge her. I did tell her that regardless of what it will, nothing will be less than $25. And it goes up from there. So it just depends. So, with that being said, um, hopefully that gives you a little bit. But yeah, I can talk about that a little more on another thing, but I just wanted to kind of answer that question for you, and hopefully that'll help you a bit. And Jenny said, "Oh no, I'm in trouble with that topic, gadget." Even Marie said, "Gadget, gadget, gadget." And Carol says, "I buy all the things while I am still working because when I retire, that will not be as easy." Good excuse in my brain. And that's exactly what I did, Carol, because I was working. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things right off the bat that I bought because someone told me to try it. Now, has anybody seen this before? And if you have, do you have any idea what it is? And this came with it. As you can see, it is electric. And yes, I have used it. Get it all unwind here so you can get a better look at it. Does anybody know what that is? Now, let me tell you, I have used it long, long time ago. It's been in my drawer. I have not used this thing in years. It's cute, but I ain't need it. I did not need it. But when it was presented to me, I thought it was cute. Yep. Quilt for Joy said it is an iron. And Pearl says, I have one. And Carol said, I would use that small iron to press the inside of bags I make. There you go. It is an iron, and that's what you can use it for. Now, we all probably have a little iron like this. Why do I have three? They're not all exactly alike, but I have this one, another one that's similar to this, and then what I call a baby Oslo, which is what I'm using now. I love my baby Oslo. It's all the way in the back. You probably can see it sitting on that stand. Yeah. Who needs all of this? Who needs this? Now I'm gonna tell you why I have all of these and I don't use them. They go in a box. These are the ones that I use currently. My 65 millimeter, my 45 millimeter, and my 28 millimeter. And these are the only three that I use consistently. All of the other ones, and I'm going to embarrass myself, but I'm going to just tell you, because I did not know. No one told me that you are supposed to change the blades and buy new blades. I kept buying rotary cutters when the blades got dull because it wasn't cutting anymore. So I thought I needed another rotary cutter until it finally dawned on me, or I figured out, duh. So now, well, actually, I have one more that I didn't even pull out. And I got this one from an expo. Uh, oh, here. I wanted to show this one because this one is unique. The Martelli, or Martel, whatever. And this is a left-handed one because I'm left-handed. And I saw this at the expo. I like this a lot, but you only can use or only should use the Martel blades, which I finally got some, so I can put some in here and go back to using it and everything. But I saw this and everything. But you don't need all those blades. Now, this is one thing that I really truly regret getting, and I don't even know who told me to get this one, but this thing is absolutely ridiculous. Who has one of these little things? It ain't worth the $16 that they charge for this little thing that's supposed to cut jump stitches. And it is advertised as being the next thing, the best thing since sliced bread. And I have never gotten any use out of this little bitty, ridiculous thing. Now, somebody may have one and love it, but it has never worked for me. Never, ever worked for me. Pearl, you said, why have bring up many irons. I have about six. I don't have six. I have one, two, three. If you count the little spade things, I have four. Well, I'm close. I have four. Um, Taisha says, I use all my things I purchase. I have about 8 rotary cutters, so if one blade is dull, I will pick up another one. Plus, I get a monthly sew sample box, and they are always sending me gadgets. That is true. They do. And Val, you said you love that. I have that Martelli too. Yeah. I think several people I know have the Martelli. And Eva Marie says, I inherited my mother's rotary cutters and scissors. I just pulled them out because I am organizing my craft. I haven't even told you about my scissors. I got 7, 8, and that's not counting the little bitty scissors, like these little things here. These little things here. Yeah, I don't know how many little scissors do I have, and I only use 2, and none of these, but I have them. Now, a couple of scissors I got as gifts, or they came with some other set or something. I didn't just go out and person. Matter of fact, I didn't personally buy these. They came with something, because I didn't buy these. Um, the other thing that I bought that these sweet pea, what do they call them? Is their tape? They call them something. I don't know what they call them. They don't sell them anymore because they don't sell this kind of stuff anymore. But I bit the bullet and I bought them because they were cute. And now I go right back to using my painter's tape. Waste of money. I use them. I only have 4. I had 6, so I've used 2 of them. That's the other thing. They're as expensive as they are, you use them up pretty quickly. Now, Taisha, are you telling me you have the little bitty? I love that and I love it. Clips all of my jump stitches really good. The little bitty thing here, is this what you're saying that clips? Because it does not work for me. I have tried and tried and tried, and I have yet to get any good service out of these things here. If this is what you're referring to, but I do know the advertisement was that it would cut your jump stitches just absolutely perfectly, and that's why I got it. But the picture looks much larger, and when this thing came in the mail and I got it, I had to crack up. I was like, "You have got to be kidding! You have got to be kidding!" Another gadget, laser light. I put it on one machine, didn't do me no good. Didn't do me no good. Not to say it's not good for you guys. I'm not knocking anything saying you don't need it. I'm just saying how easy it is to just buy a bunch of stuff that doesn't work. This is another thing that I bought, and I used this yesterday, and I will use it. These are, somebody tell me what these are. I'm not gonna tell you. If you know, I'm sure there's somebody on here that knows and probably has them. Jenny said, I have 2 of them Martelli right hand, 45 and 60 millimeters. And Pearl said, we're not going to talk about rotary cutters, but I have them at different stations so I don't have to go looking for one. And Catherine, hi Catherine Stanley, scissors are my fun fact. And Taisha said, I have the Martelli 45 millimeter and 60 millimeter, and I use Fisker blades in mine. It works well. Okay, good to know that. I did not know that. I just waited to find the Martelli blades, but I'm glad to know that the Fisker works in there because I was told differently. And Carol says, I have over a dozen pair of scissors. Does that make us scissor sisters? Yeah, we kind of on the same line. Same line. And so Eva is going to be the scissor sister as well. And Thais, yes, that's what I use when I have jump stitches in small spaces. I'm going to have to try mine again. And Carol, you are 100% correct. This is pattern weight. And they're heavy. This thing, when I bought it, was over 10 bucks. For these little four things, over 10 bucks. And I looked for my stuff today, and I obviously have it in a drawer somewhere because I haven't done anything with patterns in a while. But I went to probably Lowe's and got those big washers, a bunch of them. And that's what I traditionally use, except for I don't know where they are right now. They're in a drawer somewhere, obviously. They are so much more economical than four of these for 10 bucks, 10 plus bucks. So I didn't need this. I didn't know. I saw it, I got it, I bought it. I've used them. So it's not like I haven't used them, but I've also used my washers as well. And they work as well as that, if not better. And they're more economical, and you can get as many as you want because they're not even $1 a piece. They're like change. I don't even remember how much I paid for them, but they're not very expensive. I just have to figure out where they are. I don't know where they are right now. Okay, so everybody says I don't use pattern weights. I use my exercise weights for them when you're cutting. Okay, yeah, any kind of weights that work. I use those. What else? What else? That now these I got this idea from All Things Shun, and I love them. I use these now all the time for my you guys know what these are. The sticky stuff to get the lint rollers. They're washable. You use them, you wash them, they're sticky. So it saves a good chunk of change. It came in a set. This one, then I got one that's even smaller, and I'm glad I got these. And Pearl said I bought washers years back, and Val says Val says my mother used to use tuna cans ages ago for weight. Yep, makes sense. Anything that's heavy, you can get it. Yep, yep. We talked about this. I think somebody brought this up a while back, and I actually haven't tried them yet, but I have them. Where are they? Oh, here they are. Can you see that? These are true grips that you can put on the back of your rulers. That's what they look like, the ones that I have. I have not tried them yet, but I understand that they're supposed to be pretty good. Hopefully they are, because I do have a couple of rulers that I haven't I did buy me a creative grid, and I love my creative grid, but I do have some. I have a Fisker and I have a Omni grid. I believe that's what it is, that runs all over the fabric and stuff. So I'm gonna try this. Um, and Carol said, "Where did you get the lint rollers?" Amazon. I went to Amazon. I put in what reusable, I believe reusable lint rollers, and it came up. That's where I got them from. And like I said, I saw All Things Sean use one time. She was doing something, and I said, "Oh, I want one of those." So that's what I did. And Marissa, I just made some cute covers with 3D printers for my washers. Okay. Yes, I've seen people get the washers and cover, stack them together and cover them up, make them real cute. I said I was going to do that. And Jenny said, I have those too. The grips work good for me. Good, good. The grips work. I also have a can of spray. I don't even know if I still have it. Some body at a quilt shop told me to buy it for, and I did, and I did not like because it stuck, true enough, but then it sticks. You can't move it around. So I did not like that at all. Um, gadget, 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 gadget. I bought this and I'm glad I got it. I like this a lot. I like where I can put my rulers and stuff. And I do put more rulers in here. I just didn't want them falling all over the place because I was moving them. But I got this off of Amazon too. And I like it. This one you can put your rulers in horizontally or vertically depending upon your size and stuff. I don't remember what they cost. I got it off of Amazon and I'm glad I got that. And this external drive, we talked about that too. This is my external hard drive to put my designs on. I don't have anything on here but designs. That's what I use. So those are, oh, this is the last thing that I bought that somebody told me to get, and it has not done me a bit of good. When you're blind, you're blind. What can I say? Um, yeah, whatever. But that's just some of the gadgets and different things that I have bought. Some of them have worked well for me, some of them haven't, and I still got a ton more here, there, and everywhere. Um, yeah, what I am learning now, after 5+ years now, is that you don't need everything that somebody else has, and just because they say it works for them doesn't mean it will work for you. What you need to do is decide what you need. And what my AI says, to make sure you are smart with it. So I said, name the top 10 must have embroidery tools and then compare them with the top 10 ones that you don't really need, pretty much, based upon statistics. And so this is what he came up with. Number one for top 10 must have embroidery tools. Quality hoops. Standard plus magnetic. Magnetic is optional. But of course, your standard hoop. And because it keeps your stabilizer, give you better stitches, magnetic hoop, reduce hoop burns, and save time. Uh, Number two, of course, stabilizer. Cut away, tear away, and wash away are the threes you definitely need to have. Um, Good thread, poly and or rayon. Embroidery needles, a variety of sizes and types, such as ballpoint and sharp. Um, Sharp thread, nips, and scissors. You definitely need nips, scissors, and if you do appliques at all, get you a good pair of applique scissors. I use the double curve. This is my baby right here, and I love this scissor. Trying to see if it has a brand on here. This says Thread Nanny, German stainless steel. So I got this from Thread Nanny, and this is what I use, and it cuts. It even cuts the sequence pretty decently. But everything else, it cuts real good, real good. And I have to tell you, I don't skimp on my little trimming scissors that I cut jump stitches with and help with the appliques, and especially when I'm trying to, like, if you got an A or an O or something, you got to go inside and get that up and not cut your shirt and all of that kind of stuff. You need a little scissor with a sharp point so you can get in there real, real good. Um, Taisha said, I have those ruler grips. I do like them, but I only put them on one ruler. And even Marie, I never knew that it was my mother. Quill for Joyce, I got a knife holder from the thrift store and I use it as a ruler stand. Perfect, perfect, perfect. That's a good idea. And Quill for Joy, your magnetic hoops are game changers. They definitely are. And as always, Angela said, don't forget to hit that button. Don't forget to hit that button. Um, Bobbins, I use pre-wound bobbins for my single needle machine, my sewing machine, my embroidery machine, 10 needle embroidery machine. I use only magnetic uh, bobbins on my 10 needle embroidery machine. I don't wind bobbins. I never have been able to, well, I won't say never, but it's difficult for me oftentimes to wind them correctly. And I know if they're not wound correctly, you will not get a good stitch. So, to alleviate that problem, I've been buying pre wound bobbins, and you can get them in multiple colors. So, that helps. I've not been to the point where I have not been able to get a bobbin to kind of match pretty decently to my top thread if I need to. And with my multi needle machine, you can get different colors besides black and white of magnetic um, pre wound bobbins. So that's what I do. I always do that. Basic hooping aid is another, which helps with alignment and it improves placement accuracy. Now, doesn't say that even though that is an excellent tool to have if you have magnetic, if you have mighty hoops. If you have mighty hoops, then the hooping station at some point is going to be your best friend. You don't have to have it, but I tell you, if you have magnetic hoops by Mighty Hoop, at some point you're going to wish you had that hooping station. It is a lifesaver. But if you don't have the hooping station, try to get the backing for your magnetic hoops to make it easier for you to hoop your stabilizer and everything. Um, Marking tools such as chalk or your heat erasable, water erasable um, pens. Now, the ones that I bought, and I don't think they were Madam So. I think I got them off of Amazon. They don't last long and they dry up quickly, so I haven't gotten any more. I've been vacillating back and forth to whether or not I want to get the ones that Madam So has, but I'm doing a sewing project right now where I had to do a lot of marking and everything for my quilting and stuff, and I just use plain Taylor chalk. So that's what I use. I just use chalk, and it works for me. The only problem or concern is when I'm sewing because I marked my lines for my quilting because I'm quilting this fabric for this coat I'm doing, and I mark my lines so when I'm stitching on the chalk line. Well, all of that chalk powder does come up, so that means I have to constantly clean it off and get down there and clean it out and everything. So if you're going to use chalk, just keep in mind that the chalk powder itself will come onto your needle, your plate, your machine, and all of that stuff. So you have to keep brushing and cleaning that. Um, Lint brush we talked about because you have to have a lint brush, and then of course your software. and you only need software that is going to do for you what it is that you do. You don't need digitizing software if you know volume. Where did my volume go out? Can you guys not hear me? It's, I just hear somebody said no volume. I don't see but one person that says that. So if you guys can hear me, somebody put in there that you can hear me because I don't know. Maybe I'm back too far. Maybe I'm not talking into it. Okay, you hear me. Good, thank you. Because I was like, what happened to the volume? I don't see anything coming up. Okay, I think I probably was back away too far away. But anyway, what was I saying? Mm-mm. Oh, I was talking about software. If you don't get software more than what you need. If you're not going to be like me, trust and believe me, I bought way too much software. I have 3 digitizing program and I don't digitize anything. And I keep saying I'm going to, but I don't. All I needed from was my Embrilliance and Essential Enthusiast and Thumbnail, to be perfectly honest about it. But I have Stitch Artist 1, 2, and 3. I had already purchased a hatch from John Deere way back when I first started, which I didn't need. And I also got the Brother Design PE Design 11, which I've never used. Um, and I buy more software. Why? Because I'm nosy and I like to figure out what works on there. But what I need to do is take the time, which I never seem to find the time, to learn how to use the software at least a little bit. I feel very comfortable using my embroidery, my embrilliance. So I'm always falling back to that. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't pushed myself to learn the other software because it's so easy to just go ahead and use Embrilliance and move on. But I definitely need to start using the stuff that I purchased because, again, I added it to my gadget list. Money spent that you didn't need to spend. So those are the things that they say that you really need. And now he says what you don't need is an expensive hooping station, which I did say you don't have to have a mighty hooping station right away, but he does suggest that you get one at some point if you're going to be serious. But it's not something that you have to start off with. So if you're just starting and or you're not doing anything where you feel the need, then don't spend the money on it because it's not cheap. Even with the magnetic hoops, um, I personally feel like it's a good investment. I started off day one with my multi needle machine with the hooping station and my magnetic hoop. Day one, when I got my machine, I got the hooping station and all of that at the same time because I had done my research and read, and I knew that's what I wanted. And I had tried to do a lot of hooping um, manually with my single needle machine that was driving me crazy. So I already knew I had to get out of that and find something that was going to work for me. Um, Multi tool embroidery gadget kits, you don't need that. Laser alignment systems and all of that. I bought this tall pal laser light that dime so that you hook to your table and you get an X line. And I don't even have it out to show. I used that thing maybe twice. It wasn't necessary. What else did I get from Dime that I did not need? Perfect placement kit. All the stuff is still in there. And it tells you it's some kind of ruler stuff in here. And then I got this, the embroidery toolkit, professional placement tool, and all of that stuff. all kinds of little rules. I actually need to go in there and see what's in there now that I know a little bit more about embroidery. Maybe I can figure out how to use that thing and make use of it. But I got it, and I didn't know how to use it, so I never did. And I've gotten this far without it. So, just be mindful about listening to other people and all that kind of stuff about what you need, what you don't need. You don't need a fancy thread rack. You don't need any specialty hoops. Now, all of this means if you're not going to use them. Don't get any of these things until you're ready to use them. Pace yourself. Depending upon where you are in your embroidery journey, will depend upon what tools you need to add to your arsenal. Don't do like me, just jump up and buy everything, because I did. And it's kind of like Carol was saying, while I'm working, I'm going to pay for everything now while I'm working, because when I retire, I won't be able to. And that's kind of how I felt. I wanted everything I thought that I needed right off the bat. So whenever I stopped working, I didn't have to worry about buying this stuff. But I did end buying stuff that I didn't need. Um, and we talked about overcomplicated software. I definitely bought software I didn't need. So those are the things. If we try to stay within the guidelines that I mentioned, then our machines will be a lot happier, and they won't be fussing at us because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. Make sure we keep it clean, make sure we use good thread, make sure we use the correct needles, make sure we're using um, our bobbins correctly, we're threading it correctly, we're stabilizing correctly, we're hooping everything correctly, we're using the right stabilizer for the job as well as the right needle for the job, then our machine is going to be a lot happier. And Jenny says, I have those from Dimes too. I haven't used it yet either. I've had mine for 5 years and I haven't used it. So I probably won't. But I am going to pull it out one day and look at it. Maybe we can do that on a Wednesday night Zoom. Pull it out and see if they have any value to us now that we know a little bit more about what we're doing. But yeah, I bought software that I don't even want to call no names, but I bought software. I'm not using it. I'm not using it. And it looked very interesting. It made you think it was going to solve your issues, your problems, make you do the things that you really want to do. And then you find out you didn't need that software. What you already had can do what that particular software can do anyway. You just had to learn how to use the software you have to do some of those things. So, whatever software you have, especially if you have a really good editing software, like an Embrilliance, it is so much you can do. And the one thing I will say definitely about Embrilliance software, even with Stitch Artist 1, 2, and 3, they're economical enough to get at some point. But what I found out with Stitch Artist 3, there are so many things that I can do even better that I didn't realize with that. So I'm not unhappy that I got it because I realized it does have some merit as far as the things that I like to do. Taisha says, I have used the Dime Perfect Placement set and they are helpful. Well, good. So she has one, Jenny, and I have one, and you have one. So maybe one Wednesday night Zoom, we all can get together and Taisha can show us how to use it so we can get a little, so we'll know what we're doing. And Quit for Joy said, years ago, I bought blue towels from Kimberbell, and so far I use them about 50% of the time. Well, that's great. I did not buy the blue towels. I was tempted. But what I did, and I'm looking at them now, and I don't remember what they're called, but they're the orange ruler type thing. And I don't remember what she calls them, but I got them from Kimberbell. And the reason I got them is because I was doing that pillow project that she has. And that was what was recommended as far as cutting out and measuring your squares and everything. And I did use it for that project, but I've not used them since. So, yeah. And Marina, you said you use the PAL 3 laser light. I have the PAL 3 laser light. That's the one that I have. And I maybe twice, 3 times max. And you also have the kits. So, yeah. And Jenny is saying, Taisha, please show us how to use it. And Eva Marie, I am looking for someone that uses Brother BES Blue. Uh, I I don't have it. I think it's a couple of people I know that does have that software, but I can't say for sure that they're up on the use of it. From what I've heard about that software, it's a little not it's not very user friendly. So I don't know because I don't have that software. And Jenny, the orange pop rulers, you are correct. That is exactly what it is called. I like Kimberbell's orange pop rulers. That's what I have. I bought those when I was doing the project, and I did use them for the project. So I usually will, even the placement stuff. I bought them when I very first started embroidering, so I'm lost as a Bessie bug. I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't use them. So maybe now that I know a little bit more, I can understand it a little better, maybe use it. But I did get them. And Leslie says, I have that dime software too and the book. I also got another of the book for free to give to give to a friend. And Jenny said, I do use the orange pop ruler. And Jenny does have the what Gloria Horn because they're going to be teaching the BES software. Okay, Taisha. Um, Jenny says she has the BS Blue but need to learn it. Okay. Well, maybe Taisha says that Gloria Horn will be teaching that software, so that's good. Because like I said, I know there's a few of you guys, at least you mentioned that you had that software. I don't have it, so um, and Eva is telling Jenny to hit her, hit Eve. Jenny hit up Eva so you all can converse on whatever it is that you need to converse on. Let me see. Oh, hi, Sean. I saw your name a minute ago and I meant to speak and forgot. It slipped my mind because I was too busy running my mouth. But hi, Sean. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. And I know I had, oh my, what was that? I had mentioned a while earlier that I was working, I had done some quilting and I had done the lining, the markings on my fabric for my quilting with some chalk. Well, I'm working on a quilted coat um, with Sean. She is teaching us how to do this quilted coat that we're working on. And I'm glad that brought that up because, ladies, the social society crew, uh, I will not be doing the Zoom tomorrow night, unfortunately, because I do have a class with Sean this coming Wednesday, which is tomorrow, that I don't want to miss. So we can make it up on Thursday if you guys want to, or not. You guys let me know. You know how to reach me. I will send a text out when I get off of here. If you want us to meet on Thursday, because I can't do it tomorrow night, then we can do that because I know we are working on our quilt. for our project. So we really need to be doing stuff. But I have signed up with this class with Sean, so I will be with her tomorrow night. I was with her last night, and I will be with her tomorrow night because we have to get this quilt done by the end of the month, and I don't want to get behind. So that's what I will be doing. So I am going to send out a message when I get off of here because I got to let the other girls know that aren't on here what's coming up. And Robin said Thursday is fine with her. So the rest of you people, Taisha and Leslie and Jenny and Val and Becky, uh, those are the ones that are on here. Let me know what you guys want to do, and then I will, and Marina, and I will check with Deborah and what Danielle, Danielle, what's her name? I'm losing my mind. Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. I would check with the other ladies and see if Thursday's okay because I can do it on Thursday. Just can't do it tomorrow night. So uh, so again, and Marina, you say you can do Thursday night, might be late. That's no problem. And Leslie, she's going to be out of town, so she can't do it, but that's okay. And Jenny, that's right, no word. It's a date night for me on Thursday. Okay, that's your date night, so you don't want to miss your date. So those that can will, and those that cannot will not. So that's how we'll plan it. And I, like I said, I will send a message out. I will be available. And Joyce said Thursday's okay with her. So it will be some of us that will be there. And those of you that can come on, those of you that cannot, that's okay, no big deal. And I'll send a message out and we'll see what happens. And with that being said, I am going to go ahead and say goodnight because, as you guys know, Wednesday is a work day for me. Was there anything else that I wanted to share with you guys? Hmm, mm, 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 mm. I don't think so. So I thank all of you. Don't forget me to give me a thumbs up, hit the notification bell. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Please subscribe. That's very important. I'm still trying to figure out how to do the spin thing so we can do the giveaway. I've come up with what I'm going to give away. Now I need to figure out how to do the giveaway. For me hitting my 2,500 subscriber goal. And like I said, my next goal is 5,000, and I want to do that before the end of the year. So um, the more the merrier. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell everybody you know to come on and subscribe to my channel so we can get up there. So good night, good night, good night. Um, have a great night, everyone, and a great, wonderful rest of your week. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. You guys take care. You guys are so wonderful. And I appreciate every one of you guys.